Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority, featuring Liam Z. Muniz. Enjoy. Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority, with your host, dun dun dun, Liam Z. Muniz. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning, day, evening, night, whatever it may be for you, because you, my beautiful self, are deserving of the best and only the best things the universe has to offer, period. So, this is episode 12, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had to record this episode like 4 times, and the first 3 times that I did it, I was not feeling it. The energies that were flowing through me were very overwhelming, so I had to take a break. I ate some good old food. I went outside, I sat in the sun, I did a meditation, and I simply allowed myself to feel those emotions, feel those energies, and not feel that I have to fix myself. And with that being said, that's going to bring us to the topic for today's episode. As a part of the series, Dear Diary, I want to speak on kind of my experiences of constantly feeling that I have to fix myself, or constantly feeling that I have to grow and constantly do something with myself rather than just allowing myself to simply be as I am. So, of course, before starting the actual topic, I want to do some affirmations so that we may ground ourselves, remain in the present moment, and truly connect and exchange these energies and ideas and thoughts from a place of authenticity and originality. Okay, so let's just get into it. You know what I'm saying? Let's take a nice deep breath. Let's do one more. Okay. I am whole as I am. I do not need to be fixed. I am valuable for who I am. I love the person that I am and the person that I will continue to grow into. I love everything about me. I see no imperfections. I accept myself for all that I am. I accept myself for all that I see. I accept myself for all that I experience within me, as I know that everything that I experience is a part of my journey towards growth, towards enlightenment, towards unconditional love. And I love myself enough to give myself space to find peace. I love myself enough to give myself space to simply be. I allow myself to be raw. I allow myself to express organically. I allow myself to, I'm feeling like, I allow myself to be authentic in every way. No matter what role I'm playing, I will show up as I am. I will show up as who I am and what I am and when I am. Because it is okay to not be okay all of the time. Because I am not perfect. I am a human. I am loved. I am appreciated. I am love. I am compassion. I am unconditional sunshine. And I deserve to express myself in positive manners. I deserve to feel safe. I am my safety. I am my safe haven. I am exactly where I need to be at the exact times, every single second. With every breath, I allow life to flow through me freely. I surrender. I surrender to my divine path. I surrender to my divine growth. I surrender to this divine experience, as I am exactly where I need to be. I am whole as I am. I do not need to be fixed. I am whole as I am, and I do not need to be fixed. A little kiss for you, say. Okay, so now that we've got the affirmations all settled, and we're all, settled in nice and cozy. I hope you're nice and comfy, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it, because through my experience, y'all, I feel like once I got out of that really dark space, as I was in, trigger warning, from my last suicide attempt, and once I saw that, I can improve, I can become better, it's almost like, it became almost like an addiction, almost, because every time I felt that I was less than, every time that I felt that, I wasn't happy, I wasn't fulfilled, I searched for some reason within me as to why. I always blamed my vulnerabilities. I always blamed insecurities. I blamed trauma. I blame my wounds. I blame my past. I blame people around me. I blame my mind. Like, it was always me pointing the finger, whether it was at myself or at others, and saying, like, this is the reason why I'm not happy. This is the reason why I'm not deserving of good things. This is the reason why I'm not where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And with doing that, constantly feeling that there was something that I had to fix about myself, I feel like it really restricted me from expressing who I am, because I was always so worried of who I will become or who I will be, right? Like, I was constantly I was constantly thinking about, in what ways can I grow? In what ways can I be a better person? In what ways can I love better? In what ways can I help people more, And the whole time my internal self, my inner child is sitting there like, when are we going to stop? Like, are we going to plant these seeds and watch them grow and then run away? Or are we gonna actually enjoy them? Are we gonna pick them? Are we gonna smell them? Are we gonna create something with it? It was like, it's this constant feeling of needing to fix something about me, of needing to improve, of needing to grow, of needing to do something else. Like, it's it gets very tiring very quickly. It gets very frustrating. It gets very overwhelming, because in moments when I'm feeling heavy emotions, like earlier, where I felt like, I don't know, I felt a little blank in the head, like a little overwhelmed. I felt very heavy energies. Usually when I feel those emotions, I'm like, oh girl, we need to do something about this. We need to fix you. We need to go meditate. We need to go stretch. We need to go journal. We need to go do this. And that was me, like, projecting toxic positivity onto myself, toxic optimism almost, and projecting these conditionings that I can't express these emotions because they're bad. I can't have these energies or be energetic or have no energy, right? Because it's bad, because it makes me lazy, because it makes me, ungrateful, and all of these different labels that have been thrown on me in the past. I was projecting that onto myself. It's almost like when you teach a child to follow rules, they if you do it consistently, they're going to naturally just do it. It's going to become a habit, right? And that's what I was doing. It became a habit for me to constantly judge my emotions. If they weren't happy or positive emotions, I would judge myself, and I would say, like, oh, like, why are you feeling this way when you have so many good things in your life? Why are you feeling angry towards this person when they did, good things for you the day before, And it's like, that's extremely toxic, especially if you're the one telling that to yourself, because you are telling yourself that these emotions are not welcome within me, when in reality, these emotions are natural responses of your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit to whatever circumstance you are placed in. And sometimes, these emotions can feel negative or heavy or overwhelming. And that's actually pretty normal, allowing yourself to be reminded that I am whole as I am right now and I don't need to be fixed is you being in the present moment. And I would always feel like, oh yeah, I'm being in a present moment because I feel these emotions, I acknowledge them, I see them, but I'm gonna remove them. I'm gonna push them away. I'm gonna run away from them. I'm gonna erase them, and that's not me being in the present moment. That's me seeing and feeling what's happening now and then jumping to try to run and race to the future in a space where I'm no longer feeling those emotions. And that's not how it's going to happen, because if I'm feeling it in the present moment, that is something that I need to feel in the present moment, because life happens for you. It does not happen to you. So whatever you are feeling in those moments, it's not that it's there to punish you. It's not that it's there because that's your quote unquote bad karma. Karma is energy and action. Karma is action. So it's like the domino effect. I feel like that's what a visual representation of what karma is. If you push one domino and there's one behind it, the other one is going to knock over. You know, it's not that you're a bad person so you deserve negative things. It's just that this is a process of the cycle. If you want the cycle to end, if you want the dominoes to stop falling, you have to experience those dominoes that are falling. And I didn't really understand that because I would always really pressure myself to be this perfect fucking sunbeam all of the time. And even to myself, you know, like it was even like kind of looking back at it now, in terms of my healing journey and my spiritual journey, right? Because I'm implementing spiritual practices into understanding who I am on a soul spiritual level. I I use that almost as an excuse as to why I should run away from these emotions. I use it as an excuse as to why those emotions didn't belong within me. And that was almost a form of me neglecting the whole healing process. You know, healing isn't you going and journaling and meditating and stretching and being in the sun and all these things. Like, yeah, that can help you, but to me, my perspective, healing is the process of you experiencing the good and the bad within you and allowing it to flow through your body. It's surrendering. To me, healing is surrendering. It is surrendering to love. It is surrendering to, negative emotions. It is surrendering to overwhelming thoughts and allowing them to flow through you, because naturally, like a river, there might be a pebble stuck in some place in the water, but if the water continues to flow, the pebble is going to eventually move on. That's the same thing with these negative emotions, these negative thoughts, these cycles, these conditionings. It might be like a rock stuck in your brain or in your chakras or in your energy field, but if you allow it to flow through, if you allow yourself to experience it, if you allow yourself to simply be in the moment and identify, well, what does it feel like when it's there? How can I identify that there's a rock there if I'm constantly splashing in the water? You're never going to notice it. You're never going to actually see the water clearly, because now it's all muddy from you, constantly tampering and trying to control the natural flow of the water. So if we allow it to flow, we can see what is it that's almost tampering with our authenticity, with our originality, with our divine light, right? And it's not that those rocks are a bad thing, it's that those rocks need to naturally move on their own. And you don't have to pick it up and toss it. You don't have to, you know, pressure yourself or push yourself to heal everything all of the time, to break all of the cycles all of the time. Like, if you are meant to do that, if you are meant to heal, if you are meant to be a generational cycle breaker, it is going to happen naturally. Period. It's not something that you're going to miss out on, because it's already written in your destiny. It's already written in stone. It's going to happen. And maybe we don't know when or how or, what's going to really happen, but that's part of you surrendering and trusting the process, trusting the divine guidance, the the natural flow of your internal world. And it's something that I feel that I'm closing that cycle on, because I was constantly, like, when I say constantly, I mean fucking constantly. I was constantly like, excuse me, I was constantly analyzing my mind. I was constantly analyzing my emotions, constantly analyzing my thoughts, constantly analyzing every movement, everyone around me. How is everyone else reacting? How is everyone else feeling? How am I reacting to other people? And yeah, it's good to be self-aware, but that type of self-awareness was not self-aware. That's self-judgment. I was constantly judging myself. I was constantly nitpicking at every single thing that I did, and I was trying to find the more negative aspects of what I was doing to justify and satisfy my need to constantly be better or do better or fix things. Like that's the motherfucking one. Because I'm used to being like a people pleaser, or I'm used to, kind of giving in to whatever. It's like removing myself from that. I wanted to constantly please the need to heal or fix something. Always trying to fix something. And I kind of projected that onto myself, and I restricted myself to those chains and those limitations because I didn't have anyone else there to do it to. Like it was like removing myself from the people, places, and things that constantly fed into that feeling of wanting to fix someone or wanting to just fix something in general. Once I removed myself from those spaces, I didn't have anything else to attach myself to. So it was all an internal attachment now. I was attaching myself to my fucking organs and like ripping them apart and giving myself excuses as to, oh, look it, I just ripped your lung, like now you need to fix it. You know what I'm saying? So it was low key like that, and I don't know, it put a lot of pressure on me, and even now I'm still trying to move out of that. But I feel like I really gained that clarity where it's like, yes, there are a ton of things that I want to do in my life and I want to accomplish and I want to create and I want to express and connect and whatever, but I'm never gonna give myself the opportunity to experience that if I'm constantly trying to change who I am. And change and transformation and evolvement are different things. Changing something is like, taking out the seed that's already in the ground and putting another one. It's not going to grow as the flower that was already there. It's going to grow as a completely new flower with completely different things, completely different personality, looks, all of that. But transforming and evolving something is watering the seed, watching it grow, and then plucking out the weeds so you can help it to continue to grow. That is transformation. Change is ripping out the whole goddamn plant, and you don't need to change anything about yourself to feel as if you are a good fit for a certain role. So, like, if you want to go into a certain career or a particular path, you don't have to change who you are in order to do that. Like, yeah, there are some things that you might have to learn and transform, and inhibit better habits and all of those things in order to achieve it. But once you are in that role, continue to be the person that you are, because who you are internally never changes. It never changes. The only thing that really transforms and evolves is the way that you express who you are, is the way that you perceive who you are. It's those five senses. I feel like we have five external senses and five internal senses: the way that we view ourselves, the way that we speak to ourselves, the way that we listen to ourselves in our own inner voice, the way that we, I don't know, smell. Let's not use smell, but other than that, is like we we don't have to constantly feel that we have to change or fix anything, because you are not broken. You are not broken. I'm not broken. The world is not broken. The government isn't broken. It's not that it's broken, it's that we need to change the way that we perceive things. Because when we change the way that we perceive and speak to things and feel things, that is when we are going to be able to evolve and transform, whether it's internally, externally, as a community, as a entire fucking race, like the human race, I should say. It's like, you don't need to change things. We just need to transform it within ourselves. Transform the way that you react. Transform the way that you treat yourself. Transform the way that you treat others, and see what happens, like, you don't have to constantly be trying to create something or trying to do something. Just simply be. And as you simply are, you are going to naturally feel that passion. You are going to naturally feel that drive to do more, to be more. And like, yes, there are days when you have to give yourself that extra push, but giving yourself that extra push when you feel that you really need it authentically, That is you still going with the flow because you are listening to your internal voice. You are not trying to overlap your internal voice, right? Surrendering is understanding that when you say it's time to take action, and by you I mean your higher self, your all-knowing being, right? Your soul. Once you hear that it is time to move, you need to move. That is you surrendering. But if you hear that it's time to rest and you're still going out and fucking running, you're still running on this path, that is you not listening. That is you going against the grain, going against the natural flow of your life, and that's when things are going to get bumpier, and that's when things are going to become harder, because life is not meant to be difficult. It becomes difficult when we start to resist these evolutions, when we start to resist the natural essence of our being. That is when it becomes more difficult. Because yes, I'm not saying that everything is going to be easy peasy piece of cake, but when you are given lemons, you can naturally create that juice and have something to replenish yourself. That is life becoming easier. Yes, you have to put in the work to juice it and grind it and do whatever, but it's still easier than just letting them sit there and thinking like, oh, I don't have anything else, like I have to work extra hard to do things differently and do these other things. Like do like, go with the flow. Surrender, and that's everything that I'm saying is really a reminder to myself, because I've noticed that sometimes I feel that I want to speak on topics and different things that I haven't actually experienced, but this having to surrender has been a constant, literally the absolute basis of everything that I've experienced in my life. I've had to surrender. I've had to surrender to those negative emotions. I've had to surrender to the darkness within me. I had to surrender and face my darkness and face those fears and face every aspect of myself that I've been running away from my entire fucking life. This entire process is a process of surrendering. It is teaching you how to surrender. It is teaching you how to release the need of control. It is teaching you how to follow the guidance with faith and trust, instead of constantly questioning yourself and questioning the world and questioning the universe or spirit or God or whatever resonates with you. It's this is all just a natural process of enlightenment, of evolving, of becoming the highest and greatest version of yourself. And by me saying that, it's almost like it kind of pushes back my mind a bit, because I'm thinking like, we constantly work to become the highest version of ourselves. But if you remain in the present moment, you are always the highest version of yourself, because the future hasn't happened. So that self in the future that you might be thinking of, they're not there. They're here. And that's why you're thinking about it. And that's why you feel them. And that's why you yearn to become them, because you are them already. But you are restricting the natural flow. And so you're going to feel that stagnancy. You're going to feel like, oh, I'm not there yet. You're going to feel like, oh shit, like I need to do this, and that in order to become that person. If you believe that you are that person, if you believe that you are already there, you are already there. Point blank, fucking period. Like, you are already there. Simply because you acknowledge that that person exists, that aspect of yourself exists within you, because you are one whole already. You are not different puzzle pieces. You are not, different little games or different stories. You are one whole being. That's it. So everything that you aspire to be, everything that you desire, it's already inside. And the reason why you desire it, it's because it's probably on the other side of the door knocking. And you hear the echoes of it calling you, but you're like, because you're not looking in the right direction, you're turned around trying to do other things. It's like, yo, hold on. Alrighty, little motorcycle guy. But as I was saying that, I had like a visual playing in my mind where it's like the door is behind you and there's like all of these blessings knocking and they're like, yo, like come over here. And the whole time you have headphones in. You have headphones in, your back is against the door, and you're like with a pickaxe, you're like trying to break down the wall to make another door. When it's like the door is behind you. If you would have just dropped the things and allowed yourself to be in a present moment and took those headphones off, you would hear the blessings calling you. You would see the direction that you are meant to go, and you would realize and notice that the door is right fucking there, and all I have to do is walk to it, open the doorknob, and walk through. That's it. But it hasn't happened, or we don't realize it sometimes because we're over here trying to make a whole new door that's not meant to be there, you know? And you're just putting in extra work, extra efforts, extra energies into something that isn't ever actually going to benefit you. That is you not surrendering. So I need to surrender. And this is me telling the universe right now, I fucking surrender because I'm so tired of running. Like, I know that this cycle is at its last little stride, and I'm so happy for it because I've noticed that every time a cycle ends or every time I'm in the process of ending a cycle, it always feels worse before it gets better because it's like that breakthrough. When the plant is growing, before it breaks through the ground, there's going to be a shit ton of fucking pressure. It's going to feel like it's crumbling, like it's like dangling and about to die. But then eventually it's going to break through, and then there's that feeling like, ooh, relief, we made it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it always feels when you are about to end a cycle or break a some kind of tie, or just finish something, right? It's that breakthrough moment, and I feel like that's what I've been experiencing these past couple months or weeks or whatever, you know. It's me reliving all of these emotions one last time, reliving all of these thoughts and overthinking and all of these energies and spaces one more time before it's time for me to like finalize it. You know, it's almost like, excuse me, it's almost like I've been dusting away the crumbs before I reveal that there is like clean new soil right there for me to create with, right? And I'm excited and I'm so grateful, and I fucking surrender like I've never fucking surrendered before. Like I would literally get down on the four limbs and surrender to this motherfucking bitch, cuz I'm like, what the fuck? Like, y'all, like like some of you are probably like, girl, we don't really care like that. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're here, baby, you're here. But y'all, we fucking got this, and there's never any limitations or any reasons for us to ever feel like we don't, you know? And I was talking to myself earlier, as I usually do 24 fucking 7. And I was telling myself, you know, like, we can only think as far as we limit ourselves. We can only think as far as we allow ourselves to think, because there are moments when I'll think of like in like an experience of meeting someone or connecting with someone, and I'll think of like negative things happening. And I was thinking about that earlier. I'm like, if I think of negative things happen, it's because there's something within me that is limiting the idea or possibility of me having a positive connection with someone, of me having a positive conversation with someone. And that really connected to my fears of being intimate, you know. And these are things that I'm in the process of healing and finalizing in some forms, you know. Healing never ends, but I'm evolving in that aspect. But anyways, it's like, it reminded me that even in those moments when you have those thoughts and those emotions and those feelings that are telling you that you can't do this, or this is not the right thing to do, or, you know, you're never going to make it, or just very fear-based thoughts and emotions, that is when you need to sit with it and keep going. keep fucking going like you've never been before. And even some moments of of feeling like you want to keep going in those emotions, sometimes it's also about just sitting with them, right? Because I was thinking of like how a child is very energetic and they don't really know how to control that energy. They don't know how to control their emotions. So they just outburst. There's outbursts of whether it's anger or crying or just being super energetic and being crazy. And the first thing we might think of is, I need to get them under control. So I'm going to tell them to stop. I'm going to scream at them. I'm going to put them in a fearful place so that they can listen to me. That you are doing the opposite. You are conditioning them to feel that their emotions are not valid, to feel like those emotions are not good, that those emotions are not normal, when in reality those emotions are normal. Because us as adults, we feel anger, we feel sadness, we feel frustration, we feel joy, we feel energetic, just as a child. But a child does not know how to control it. So it's almost it literally is the same thing with ourselves. When we are speaking to ourselves, when we are feeling these emotions, when we are trying to deny ourselves the ability to express, the ability to connect with these emotions, to understand it, to feel it, right? You are putting more pressure onto yourself. You are telling yourself that I cannot feel these emotions because these emotions are not normal. But they are normal. You are restricting yourself from a different aspect of yourself, of your internal experience. And it's not going to lead to the growth and transformation that you are expecting. So if you feel like you're not where you want to be, and you constantly feel stagnant, or you constantly feel like, I'm taking steps backwards, maybe you're taking those steps backwards so that you can see the bigger picture, so that you can see things more clearly, so that you're not so detail oriented and so zoomed into little things that aren't as big as they feel. These emotions, they might feel like they are corrupting your entire fucking life, and you're like, oh, I'm doomed. But in reality, it's just one breath of one present moment from an infinite amount of present moments, right? And sometimes it's just experiencing that one step, whether it's heavy or it's light as a fucking feather. You have to experience it in order to get to the next step. It's just a doom, 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 and that's why I always feel called to remind myself and remind others that this is not a race. This is not a race. Literally, all these material things that people constantly are like, oh, I need to get this, I need to get this, I need to get this. Like, that shit does not matter. Because a lot of the time, as they're racing, they're losing more energy. They're losing more strength. They're weakening their own body because they're so ego hungry and ego persuaded to get to the finish line, when in reality there is no fucking finish line. It's literally an endless track that we're all currently walking on. So take your time. Oh, excuse me, my nose is itchy. Go at your own pace and allow yourself to be in those moments, to experience the flowers that you've been fucking working hard as shit to water and grow. Allow yourself to experience every aspect of yourself. Because if you're someone like me who is always trying to improve themselves, who is always trying to work on themselves or be better and do better and dana 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 dana, I never allow myself to actually experience, well, what did I heal and how did that transform me in a positive way? I go from healing one thing or starting to heal one thing and starting to improve in one thing. And I'm like, okay, so now that we have that, we can start the other one. It's like, if you plant a seed, you don't just plant it, give it water one time and then walk away and plant another one and then forget about the other one, because the other one's not going to grow. You have to constantly check back to and be like, how are you? What's going on? Like, what do you need? How are you feeling the sunlight? Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to move it around from different places so that it can get the sun the right way. It's the same thing with you. It's the same thing with me. It's the same thing with us as beings. We are constantly evolving. We are constantly needing something new. And sometimes those new things, we're not going to realize what it is unless we allow ourselves to be as we are. We're never going to understand who we are and how we can improve if we do not allow ourselves the ability or experience to simply experience who we are right now in this present moment. Okay? It's the same thing with experiencing pain and suffering. We might push it away and deny it and curse it and not want it in our lives, but we need to experience that in order to understand what is the good in my life and what makes me feel good, what makes me happy, what brings me positive fulfillment. Like, that's everything is so connected. Everything is literally a reflection of itself. Like, when you hear people say that, it's not a lie. Like, nature is a reflection of us. The process of, the life cycle is a reflection of our internal world. Everything externally is a reflection of our internal world, unless it was like man-made, of course. Because if it was man-made, it's a reflection of the person or the people who made it, right? So I shouldn't even say we we simply need to surrender. Okay, Liamzy, I need to surrender. Okay, listener or viewer, you need to surrender. We need to fucking surrender. And that's it. That's it, porque ya estoy cansada de tu mierda. Okay? Like, we're in this, we're doing this, and, in those moments of difficulty, continuously remind yourself, I am whole as I am. I do not need to be fixed. Okay? If you're about to face something, if you're about to face your fear, and you're like, I can't do this, like, I need something, I need this, I need that, I need to improve in this. No, the fuck you don't. You just need you. You experiencing those fears, you experiencing those emotions, is you evolving, is you transforming, is you being the highest version of yourself. Because if you weren't the highest version of yourself, you wouldn't be facing your fears. You would be laying in bed or something, trying to avoid your fears, trying to avoid that confrontation with the darkness. You are your higher self. You are the light. You are the flashlight in the dark alley. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to be afraid of. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But, yo, my throat hurts. I'm over here. Done turned into Pastor John up in here. But seriously, like, I feel that I have to constantly remind myself that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just as I stated before, when something is happening consistently, it becomes a habit. So in healing, you have to consistently remind yourself of these things. Remind yourself of the things that bring you back to that balance and that ground. Healing is not you constantly doing, journaling and all of these things. And I used to believe that, and I used to force myself to do it even if I didn't feel like doing it, and it did. Honestly, for a minute it worked, but then after I'm like, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. And that's okay, because we are constantly transforming. And the only way that we can understand, well, what is working for me right now is if you embody who you are right now. And as I embodied who I was becoming and who I was, I realized that, well, this isn't working for me anymore. I'd rather sit and talk out loud about my emotions to myself, or as I'm doing right now. Technically I'm speaking to myself, but someone else is going to listen, right? Who I am now, that works better for. And that is me healing. That is me transforming and evolving myself, because I'm not forcing myself to stick to a one fits all kind of agenda, right? I'm allowing myself to experience what I feel I need in those moments, and then moving forward and expanding and allowing myself to make those changes, allowing myself to transform the way that I express, the way that I am healing and handling different emotions and internal worlds. We're living in our own little internal world, and sometimes we can feel or we can get so lost and out of focus and caught up in all of these different worlds outside of ourselves that we forget that we need to care for our own world. I guess we all live on this giant earth, but on this giant earth there are over a billion other little worlds, because you have your own little world in your body, I have my own little world in my body, and everyone else has their own world in their own little body, and if you constantly feel called to care for and heal and fix everyone else's worlds, and you're not healing and taking care of your own, that's why the earth is dying. That's why the fucking earth is dying, because we are so occupied with things that do not matter. We are so occupied with distractions and aspects of this life that are never going to actually replenish our waters, that are never going to actually, clean up the air and help us internally and externally. So it's up to you. It's up to you to make that change. It's up to you to as let's say 4 senses, because smell is not one of them. It's up to you to replenish and check up on those 4 senses. Give yourself a 4 senses physical. How am I viewing myself? Am I listening to my internal voice? How do I speak to myself? Like, what was the other one? Oh, how do I feel? Like, these are all things that we have to constantly, not really constantly, but we have to keep a tab on. And in those spaces where we're not keeping a tab on it, or we're not constantly checking up on it, allow yourself to use those 4 senses. Allow yourself to experience those 4 senses. Because, like, if you buy a new toolkit and you're like, you know what, I want to keep it nice and clean, I'm not even going to use it, and you're just going to leave it there, those tools are now valueless. They have no fucking value, because you are the one that gives it that value. So if you're constantly trying to improve, create, and you're not expressing that, you're not experiencing it, you're not sharing your creations, technically it's sitting there useless because you have not implemented and given it the energy to be alive, to be a person, place, or thing with value, right? And it's all up to you. You are in control of your being, but surrendering to the process of life and the process of your internal world is you surrendering that need for ego control. There's a difference between controlling from a place of ego and controlling because you want to, you're fearful of things happening, or you want everything to be in place, or you have this perfect little vision of your future. That is ego control. But when you are going with the flow and you're still allowing yourself to row the boat with the water, you are in control of, well, what am I doing with this current? A fish just plopped into my boat. What am I going to do with it? That's you still being in control of your vehicle, but you're not in control of the movement of the water. You know what I'm saying? But from ego, when you're in a place of ego control, you're over here trying to paddle against the water, and you're trying to smack all the fishes before they even get into your boat, and you're like pushing yourself away from rocks and all of these things, and whole time you're actually playing yourself because now you have less energy, and now you're weaker, and now you're hungrier, and you're like all of these things, and just releasing. You can have an idea of what you want to do, of your goal, but constantly feeling that, oh, I have to make sure that this is in place, and this is right, and this person is doing this, and I'm doing this, and everything is perfect as I planned, it's never going to happen. And you're most likely not going to achieve that goal because you're the one that's restricting yourself from the natural flow and essence of achieving that goal. For you to achieve a goal, you have to allow it to become a part of you. And in order for it to become a part of you, you need to become a part of yourself and get your hands out of every other bowl and every other thing and look into your bowl. What tools that I have What tools do I have that I can use in order to achieve this goal? Not what tools are over here and what tools can I throw over here, or what tools are do 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 do, like, you have a sense of control on life or on yourself, but you do not have a sense of control on really your destiny. I feel like I'm a believer that we all have a destiny, but we have a choice on whether or not we want to reach that destiny or not. If you want to hold yourself back and, fuck things up, you're most likely either not going to reach that destiny or you're not going to reach it. But if you choose to accept it and go with it, then you can reach the destiny. That's just my perspective. Not me like about to lose my voice. Yo, we's out here being too factual, you know what I'm saying? I can't handle it. But yeah, I feel like that's all out of my system. Great conversations. I really like this topic because earlier I was feeling crazy. Like, I was feeling so, like, I was passionate because I'm like, I want to film my EP today. Like, I'm excited. It's Thursday. We got to do it early and do. And when I sat down to film it, I had an idea of a topic, and I just started talking and then talking and talking. And as I was speaking, I started to lose my focus. I started to lose my energy. I started to lose, literally, like, I get this feeling a lot. I can tell when I'm going against the grain because my body fucking yells it at me. Like, I would literally go pale. Like, I would feel like I can't focus. I feel like there's nothing in my brain. Like, that's literally how it feels for me. And so as I was speaking and recording, right, before this, I felt that way and I went pale and I like lost the glossiness in my eyes and I looked fucking dead as fuck. Like, literally. And I realized, I was like, this isn't what I'm meant to be doing right now, even if it's something that I really want to do. I'm still going to accomplish my goal of filming this EP, but it's not meant to happen in this moment at this time. So I turned it off and I went to eat and I sat outside and meditated. And once I felt grounded and better, I came back and then I sat here again as I am now. And I was like, you know what? We're going to try that again. And this time, everything was flowing naturally. I was speaking naturally as you hear me, right? This is when I started to record this one right now. I feel more in tune with the topic, in tune with the conversation, in tune with the microphone and the camera and all of these things, because I'm no longer going against the grain. I'm accepting that, okay, before it wasn't the time for me to do it, but now it is, right? And the only way that I could have acknowledged that was that I listened to myself. I listened to my body. I listened to my mind. I evaluated myself, I analyzed myself, and I realized that, okay, this is not what I need right now. And then I surrendered to those feelings and those emotions and whatever was happening, and I allowed myself to experience it so that I can better understand, well, okay, what do I need right now? How can I help you, Liamzy? And now we're here and we're feeling much better, and we feel more in tune, we feel more grounded. Like, the EP is being filmed just as I had the goal in mind for it. It just didn't happen the way that I wanted it to, or when I wanted it to, because, well, it wasn't my plan. it's so funny because it's like we can make a plan, but the plan never goes as planned because it was never our plan. It's God's plan. It's the universe's plan. It's Spirit's plan. And we're just here to go along with it, right? You can set those goals, you can set those ideas, and when you have, I had like a light bulb moment, because it's like, if you feel that you have to control the way a plan works out, that means that you don't have enough belief in yourself, right? You're fearing that it's not going to happen. You don't truly believe that it's going to happen. But if you have this idea and you're like, I'm going to create this is going to happen. And you're like, well, I don't know when or how or what, but it's going to happen. and you allow it to naturally happen, you allow yourself to take the steps that you know you can take and you feel called to take, and it happens naturally, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have these thoughts and ideas that come from a place of authenticity, they are going to happen regardless. But if you plan it out and you're like have everything perfected or everything pinpointed and everything is like, okay, this is gonna go like this, we're gonna go like that, and do like this, do like that, and that doesn't come from a place of authenticity, and it comes from a place of that ego control, that's you going against the waters, babe. And it's not gonna really work out the best way for you. It's gonna work out the best way for you when you allow those ideas to come naturally, when you allow yourself to feel inspired naturally, when you allow yourself to move from a place of passion and or organic flow, rather than trying to force the waters to move and trying to force yourself to create or to think and do all these things. Allow it to happen naturally, and that is the best outcome. Surrendering is always, always, always the best outcome. And sometimes I used to feel like, that pride devil, because I would feel like, no, I'm not gonna surrender because I need to make sure this works out the best way, you know. And the whole time I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm in control, I'm a boss lady, do 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 do. But no, the fuck I wasn't. I was being a scary lady, because on the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I don't control this, it's not going to work out the way that it should, right? It's not going to work out the way that I think is the best for me. Whole time I didn't really know what was best for me in terms of completing that goal, because I wasn't in the experience of being me. I wasn't who I am. I wasn't allowing myself to simply be, so that I can understand what steps can I take from a place of authenticity. And so I was trying to control everything else around me. I was trying to control everyone and every connection. I'm like, he didn't react the way that I wanted him to react, so I'm gonna head out, you know. And whole time that's self-sabotage, because the way that people react and the things that happen in our lives is not to fuck us up. It's to actually help us. Like, it's literally there to help you. Every single thing that happens to you in your life is there to help you. And if you have this prideful or egoistic kind of lens placed over your eyes, you're never going to see that, and you're going to view it as something bad. You're going to view it as a setup. You're going to view it as, you know, evil eye and all these things. And it's like, girl, it wasn't even all that. It wasn't even for all that. It was just their own perception of how they should express, you know. And, you know, that's why people say that other people are a reflection of yourself, because we, you know, let's give a little example. You know, someone might be like, oh, I like your outfit, and they're being genuine, but in your mind they're like, oh, they said that because they're trying to make fun of me. You know what I'm saying? And that is a reflection of yourself. That has nothing to do with the other person. That is a reflection of yourself, because in your mind you're thinking, my outfit isn't actually that good, or there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with my body, you know. And this happens every single day of your life in terms of how you perceive things. Sometimes what we perceive isn't really our reality. It is just a reflection of what's happening inside our worlds. And that's why, you know, paying attention and being in the present moment and analyzing and listening to your body is important. And the only way we can do that is if we allow ourselves to be in the present moment and simply be as we are, as we come. Because I am whole as I am. I do not need to be fixed. I want you to say that right now. I want you to say it right fucking now, because what the fuck? Like, oh, excuse me. If you didn't say it before, I really want you to write it down, say it out loud to yourself, put it on a sticky note, somewhere where you can see it every single day. I am whole as I am right now. I do not need to be fixed. And may that be a reminder for you that no matter how you are feeling, no matter what you look like, no matter what you are experiencing, that is exactly the thing that you are meant to experience in the present moment to help you. Okay? And that is all that you need in order to be in the present moment and be successful and be abundant in those moments. Okay? I love you so, so much. I am gonna end the EP because the way my voice is like starting to lose me, baby. I'm starting to lose my voice, baby. I'm like, what the fuck? So we're gonna do that. And you know, I really want you guys to reflect on this. I'm gonna continue to reflect on this. We're gonna reflect together, but also allow ourselves to simply be in the present moment. And remember, keep a tab on those four senses. How do I feel? How do I perceive myself? How am I speaking to myself? And am I listening to my internal voice? The four sense checkup, okay? You don't have to check up on it every single motherfucking day, but it will naturally talk to you and bring the attention when it needs it, okay? So just pay attention to that. Ooh, y'all, I'm feeling like, what the fuck? Like, I drink some water too, so I don't know. Anyways, that's my body telling me. Let me listen to my body as it's telling me to shut up. It's like, girl, please, you've been talking all day. What the fuck? But I love you guys. I hope you connected. I hope, I don't know, some realizations, some little sparks flying, whatever. I hope you have an amazing morning, day, evening, night, whatever it may be for you, my beautiful, beautiful soul, because you are deserving of the best and only the best things the universe has to offer. I love you. I will see you when I see you, and peace.